All right, guys, it's Tuesday. The club has been busy. We've been traveling. We've been playing in Top Shot All-Star games. We got all kinds of stuff going on in the NFT markets. We got Top Shot pack drops. We're going to rip some packs with VIPs later. Let's do this. Damien, you can retire. Let's call up Steve Kerr right now. Tell him you're done. 3-on-2 game.
Oh, I'm an incredible basketball player. Awful shooter. Awful shooter.
Nasty jumper.
Would he ever gamble on shooting?
Here we go.
Me. Let's see.
We got jaw lighting up again.
On that note, let me go.
All right.
Club Top Shot going up on a Tuesday.
Love. I feel like this is the most busy the club has collectively been over a single weekend. I feel like we have lots of stories to tell. CSU Rammy has told us he's in for tonight. He said he had a hard out at 9:55 for his basketball game, but hopefully he will be gracing us with his presence. We got MBL, Andy, Jack, Mike, fresh off the Top Shot basketball game. I see your side took it down. What was the dispatch like from the trip?
It was honestly a really good time. It was a lot of fun. Pack Drip, who organized it, as we know, he was on the show last week, really put out the red carpet for us. They basically shut down the Hall of Fame at 3:30. We went down to the courts. There's kind of a main center court. You guys might have seen some pictures on Twitter, and we did a dunk contest. We did a 3-point contest. I participated in the 3-point contest. I advanced to the second round, where I got knocked out. On cue. Jennings, I underperformed in the 3-point contest. I feel like I should have done better, but I got knocked out in the second round, shooting under 50% from high school distance. Horrible.
You did the 3. Is this the 3-point open?
What?
Was this the 3-point open, or is this something else?
This is from the NFT All-Star basketball game. Pack Drip organized. Yeah. Something else, I would say. Something else. Anyway, so 3-point contest. I got knocked out in the second round. They had an 8-foot hoop dunk contest. I did not enter. I was nervous that even at 8 feet, I really wouldn't be able to do that much. So I did not enter. On the 9-foot hoop contest, there's a guy named JPEG Trainer, is his handle, and he's the co-founder of a company called Move, which is one of the sponsors. So I'll shout them out. He did the Vince Carter arm in hoop dunk on the 9-foot hoop and pulled it off incredibly well. It was awesome. Zakarian lost in the finals of the 3-point contest. The game itself was great. I scored the opening bucket of the game on a putback. And yes.
I had you first bucket plus 900, Mike. That's huge.
So I made the first bucket, and then I drove by Zakarian for a layup later in the game, but I was a pass first point guard throughout, is what I would say. And it was awesome.
Mike, I actually got a message from Zakarian. He's like, I know Mike's going to bring it up on the show because he got me real good on a closeout. So, yeah, take your victory lap on Zakarian.
All right, so here's what happened. I brought the ball up, crossed half court. Zakarian sensed that I didn't have good handle. He sensed incorrectly. He forced me left. I took left and drove right past him for a nice finger roll. No problem.
There you go.
Back down the court like it was nothing. He was devastated. He's like, damn it, that's going to be your Top Shot moment in the game.
How did the quality of play compare to our CTS Vegas game? Like, how would us 5 have done as a team in this? That's
a good question. I would say it was similar in that there are a couple good players and a couple mediocre players. No absolute stars in this game. There were a couple. I would say probably the 2 best players on the court probably would have been the 2 best in our game too. And then beyond that, it was a similar mashup of talent to what we had in Vegas. So it would actually be a good time if we took the 5 of us out there and faced off against one of the teams.
There we go.
Did any one person end up being way better than you expected?
That's a good question. I'm trying to think.
NBL's like, I surprised myself.
All right, so they told us they were going to keep stats, and I felt like I had a lot of assists. So at halftime, I jogged over to the scoring table to check it out. They had me down at 0. They were not keeping accurate track, and I was pretty upset about that. No, I would say, some people were a bit better than expected. Some people I actually didn't know well before. I met a bunch of people out there, or a few of them I just knew their handles or didn't even know their handles. And yeah, I would say everyone was, roughly good. I think PackDrip drew random people to fill out some of the rosters. And so one of the guys was this 18-year-old guy who's a freshman somewhere. And he was really, really good. He was probably the best player on the court, I think, and was actually not on our team. And yeah, it was a good time.
Yeah, it looked awesome, and it seems like PackDrip's going to have a lot more content trickling out from all the footage. And yeah, I heard good reviews from the live stream as well. Bummed that we missed it. Was there any chatter about running something back similarly at Summer League this year? So
not at Summer League, but this could become an annual thing at the Hall of Fame. And I hope it does. It's actually only a 2-hour drive from my house, which is good. And we went for dinner after. We had a similar kind of Dapper sponsored dinner after, wings, pizza, drinks, and yeah, great overall time. Hopefully we can bring some of you guys out there next year.
Sounds good. Andy, you had a much different experience over the weekend. We'll get to the Super Bowl stuff in a sec, Andy, but how was the wedding?
It was really fun. Considering that going into it, the only person who I was going to know there was Allie. It was fun. We were in like a random part of Florida, not really Palm Beach, north of there. Nice weather, nice to get out of New York in the cold for a little bit. But yeah, it was good. I was super hungover the next day. Drank way too much, trying to cope with not being able to watch the Super Bowl.
I was going to say, what did it end up? I assume no TVs. Did you sneak a stream or did you just kind of go blind?
So for probably basically the entire first half, I was pretty much blind. And then the second half, it was at that point, it was more like the speeches were over. People were just drinking. Wait, what are we laughing at?
No, I'm picturing this scene. This story is hilarious.
At that point, well, so it's funny because I was at the table since Allie was a bridesmaid. There were all of the husbands and boyfriends of the other bridesmaids all at one table. And so it was just all of us on our phones under the table, all watching the game and talking to each other. And they're like, "Oh yeah, did you see Odell got hurt?" And I was like, "No shit, I had no idea that Odell got hurt." And all of this. But I was able to watch the last 5 minutes or so pretty intently, which was nice because it ended up being a close game, obviously. But yeah, it was rough. I still don't totally have a vibe for how the game went, but.
Were there other people commiserating? Can you believe this shit? They scheduled this on Super Bowl Sunday.
Well, so
that is insane. Let's be clear about that's.
Oh
nuts.
yeah. So I asked Legroom about it, and because he's a big sports fan. Once I got to know him, I really we were talking about sports and stuff, and I was like, "Why'd you do this?" And he said they put the deposit down before they made the season 1 week longer, and so he was like, "We just didn't expect it to be today. We thought it would be the week prior." But
why was it on a Sunday in the first place? Is that a thing?
You get better rates on a Sunday. Cheaper. Yeah.
Are they Jewish? Some Jewish people do the Sunday move.
There you go.
We didn't get deep into their. From what I can tell, it was
you would know. You would know if you were at a Jewish wedding. By the way,
you would know.
Well,
you would
yeah.
know.
No, but there could be a non-practicing Jewish person.
But if it's not practicing, then they wouldn't care about the Sunday thing. The Sunday thing is
it was not a Jewish wedding.
Okay, yeah.
Pete, how was your Super Bowl? Last we talked, you were talking, or maybe it was a couple weeks ago, about running around, getting some bets down. Did you end up getting a lot of action? Well, I know.
Yeah, it ended up being an amazing Super Bowl. Yeah, returned about 15%. It's the most bet event of the year. Caesars ran that Rams promo for the money line at -175, so I had a good bit on that. Was cheering for long punts, was cheering for field goals, was cheering for nothing to happen in the first quarter. Yeah, it was great. We were actually at Adam Levitan's house, and there's like 20 babies. So 20 babies to like 4 or 5-year-olds. So a little different Super Bowl than usual, but
Wow.
yeah, can't complain. It was a lot of fun.
And then you shipped Underdog's Big Mitten, the what $250 playoff contest, correct?
Yeah, I max entered that. I'm grinding the Underdog streets. So I was
that-
jealous of
that
you guys
before
in
the
LA.
playoffs started.
Yeah,
Or after round one. All right, nice.
before the playoffs started. Yeah.
What was
I
the
love
max
that
entry?
format. I think it's so fun. That's like I like all the best ball formats, but
Playoffs the best.
I think the playoffs are the best. Just a lot of strategy and yeah, I think it's super fun. I've fired those in years past, and yeah, I was very envious. I watched a lot of the Underdog content from the Underdog house, and that party looks sick. Although Ashley was happy I wasn't in LA, Pete.
I need to settle this thing about. I didn't feel like getting into it with Ashley on Twitter because we know how that goes for everyone. So I figured I would settle this here. I think she thought I was like trying to zoom in on a girl's ass. I was trying to zoom in on the ice sculpture that was melting, and she thought I was all horned up. I wasn't even horned up. Like, come on, Ashley.
Can you
And
show
she's
us a
trying-
picture?
Come on, Ashley.
Sure, I'm sure.
She's
I'll- sure, I'll-
ridiculous. She's relentless.
Then she asked if my wife was on Twitter. I was like, I'm just trying to take a photo of a sculpture, Ashley.
How fun was it though? You guys said you guys saw some cool people there, and I mean, last time I was doing parties with Jeremy in LA, it was the Playboy Mansion and after parties from that. So I imagine he had some good hookups in LA.
Yeah, it was fun. Here's the good. There was an ice sculpture here. There was the DJ. It's Joey Ingram's old pal Jonah was the DJ at CSU. So I was trying to zoom in on. I was trying to catch a droplet coming off because it was literally melting in real time. And then she thinks I'm taking a photo of this girl. I mean,
I can really
Show
see
Ash's
how-
reaction.
hey,
Yeah, what did Ashley say?
let me go back.
Yeah,
here.
show the reaction of Ashley. I thought I mean, she's way better at Twitter than me, but I thought it was a good.
She says, "For
Yeah,
shame."
that's exactly what she looks
Is
like
your
when she
wife
saw
on
it too.
I mean, this is my everything was misconstrued. I was down bad at that party because Pete, Chase Claypool's there, Marlon Humphrey's there, NFL players, but Tom fucking Dwan walks in. I try to say hi to him, and he just blew me right off. I led with, "Hey, we have some mutual friends, Brandon Adams." That he's like, "Hey, I got to go outside here real quick." It just walked right past me.
Oh my gosh, he big timed you.
He big time me. And I've been I was trying to meet up with Dwan when we were out in Vegas for the gambling Olympics when Brandon was
Yeah, I saw him. He was sweating the Brandon Adams Stephen Bass tennis match.
Yeah. It was
He loved that.
It was
Basically,
it was
Pete,
yeah.
your problem was you didn't want to gamble with him, and you're not a hot girl. That's basically he's kind of focused on those.
But
things.
he knows where all the hot girls are. They're right left of the ice sculptures. So.
Jeremy's friend who was hosting it with him, Sam, he was a wild man. Do you know
Sam's
that guy?
wild, man.
Yeah.
I know we have a mutual friend, this guy Kevin, who knows Sam really well. But I've heard wild stories about Sam.
Yeah, he had the Los Dos tequila bottle and going around, and anyone who would even just accidentally open their mouth for a half a second, the Los Dos tequila was going in. Let's see here. Yeah, Clay was in attendance at the party. Jack, you didn't end up swinging by to that one, did you?
I didn't. I was doing I was working. You know, some of us have to work when they go to LA for Super Bowl, Pete. Not everyone can just hit on hot girls.
I mean, Jack, I saw your Instagram stories. It didn't look like you were working too much.
You know, it's a content play. What can I say?
Yeah, I think I was at the Nights of DGen party longer than Jack was.
I was there for I think probably like 18 to 19 minutes. I was there. Bieber called. What can I say?
Yeah, give the people the Jack Settleman. I can give the underdog recap of LA, but what was the Jack Settleman brushing shoulders with Bieber and Roham and everyone else?
Yeah. Friday night was Justin Bieber, and I was really drunk. And I was saying a lot of shit to Roham that I have no recollection of, but he's super nice. He's huge. He's like 6'4". Like he's a big presence. So it was cool because he was with like Derrick Henry and all the NFL guys. Jeff Bezos was at the party at a table. It's kind of bizarre.
Wait, what party was this?
This is so my manager's roommate threw the two like H-Wood parties. H-Wood's like the Tao of LA. And Friday night they got Bieber. The whole event was tables. I was so drunk Friday night, besides me spewing with Roham, that I saw my buddy the next day. I was like, "Oh, did I see you?" He was like, "Yeah, and I was like, "Oh, right." And I was like, "Oh shit." I was literally like on the table with Josh Allen and Kittle and like had like just was not conscious of that going on. It was there were so many famous people there that they were in GA. Like that's the only way to describe it. Was like there were legit celebrities that weren't on tables because they were like way out of their budget. So that was kind of nuts. And then Saturday it was Drake, which was fun. And then Sunday the game. It was fun trip.
What oh, go ahead, Mike.
I was going to say we appreciate you slumming it with us for the evening. Now that you're a big shot over there.
No, just right place, right time. I said I was like it was a 1,500 person party. I was probably 1494 out of 1,500, only behind like my manager, or in front of rather my manager and like his girlfriend and like maybe 2 or 3 other people. But I was definitely low on that list.
If you want to see Jack, I will give him credit. You know, he went from rubbing shoulders to Justin Bieber to his Instagram story content today was getting set up in his new apartment. Lots of man of the earth stuff, unpacking mattresses, trying to get Wi-Fi situated. So you're back to being a man of the people.
Yes, I always stay grounded. She keeps me grounded. Although she's a little spoiled because our bed frame did not come today. And she didn't want to sleep on the ground. If you guys remember, I podcasted from the ground before. Exactly. So maybe, you know, once you go up to that level, you don't come back down. I'll be sleeping in a bed tonight.
Yeah.
Hey, Jack, you came in hot when you came back, shit talking New York.
You were I hate New York, but that's been a thing. I've been convincing her to move to Florida for like a year now. It didn't work. We just signed a new lease, so 365 more days in this stinky city that's so damn cold. But yeah, I'm very anti New York.
Jack goes through phases where he lashes out at things he actually likes. Top Shot, New York. It's just a phase. It's the terrible twos.
Could be.
And yeah, we got to give a shout out, obviously, to Underdog, our sponsor. Jeremy had rented us a sick Airbnb there. Got to hang out with Nick Herculano, Norris, Hayden Winks, the whole Underdog crew there with Gamby, Liz, Sam.
Hayden is stunning. I mean, this guy is like 6'3", got the LA skin. I mean, he's beautiful. So sometimes, you know, the camera doesn't do it justice.
Can we get a picture though? Well, you know, while we're talking.
Well, what I'm saying is, on camera, you're like, oh, you know, he's kind of like this cute little nerdy guy, you know, that does fantasy football. In person, completely different. You would, that's a good representation.
I show up to the house, and I think literally the first thing Jack says to me on Thursday night is, Hayden is a sexual being. I was like, what does this mean, Jack?
This is your type, Jack. Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, we had a good time. Did some live streams. We had the hot tub in the pool. They took good care of us. It was a very good time. Went out to dinner on it was Friday night, and Mike Vrabel and his crew sits down right next to us at the table. They had just come from the horse track, and they were very lit and having a great time.
Vrabel's probably just huge in person.
He was, yeah.
He's big.
Yeah,
he was definitely big.
Yeah, they were hanging out with a couple of the ESPN reporters, Diana Rossini and Jeff Darlington. But everything they tell you about LA is true. You just go out to dinner, and next thing you know, Mike Vrabel sitting next to you.
It's crazy.
Anything else I'm forgetting from Super Bowl recap, Jack?
No. Underdog really put us up pretty nice. The game was great. The Andy, to give you an idea of what the game was like, imagine like week 8 Sunday night football game-winning drive. Like that's what the game was realistically. It wasn't like a crazy game. There were some plays here and there, a couple debates over reffing, but like if it wasn't the Super Bowl, it would probably have been somewhat of a forgettable game. But an exciting and fun one still nonetheless. Halftime show was amazing though.
Halftime show was great. I watched that yesterday.
I love the halftime.
Can we put a video up of the Matthew Stafford throw to basically clinch the game to Cooper Kupp? Have you guys seen this?
The no look one?
Yeah.
Unbelievable. That's one of the best ones I've ever seen.
Who has it, Pete?
The Rams tweeted it.
I got it. I'll put it.
Okay.
You haven't seen it, Pete?
No, I haven't seen. I mean, I was watching the game, but I haven't seen where I assume we're watching like all 22 footage or something.
No, it's actually from my friend David. He films for the NFL. He didn't know he had this shot till the morning after, and he was going through his tape, and he was like, "Oh my god, this is the craziest fucking thing I've ever seen," and it's got like 10 million plus views on Twitter.
All right, let me see.
It's
here.
so sick. I just put it in the private chat.
All right.
And this is, I think, third down, second or third, but this is on the game-winning drive.
Pretty sure.
Yeah. So he no looks Von. There's a sitter underneath. It's a route concept, and he literally throws the no look. So clutch to Kupp. I thought he should have been Super Bowl MVP. I was pretty surprised that Kupp won. I personally I don't think if you go under your receiving reception prop and your receiving yard prop that you should be eligible to win. But
I thought
Two
Donald might get
touchdowns
MVP.
though. Two touchdowns and Stafford.
He also had
two
that.
picks.
He had that huge 4th down conversion on the rush attempt. That was big too.
That was scheme, but
That was the most expensive play of the game for me. Literally a massive 6.
Oh, you're the under on that?
You took the under 0.5?
We had no 4th down conversion for the Rams for a big amount, and then we had Jamar Chase. One of our best bets was Jamar Chase over Cooper Kupp rushing yards, and Chase had 4 and Kupp had 0 at the time.
I actually know an
brutal.
NFL player. I have an NFL player who bet on Kupp to have over a half rushing yard. So I don't know if he knew shit, but he posted he bet like $2,500 on it. He put it on his Instagram story.
That's what was your biggest hit, Pete, on sports bets? Or were you pretty spread out?
Probably we had a bunch of these
be
punts.
the punts.
Like all the punters to have longer punts than they did. The punters to have touchbacks. I mean, we had a couple hundred bets. I guess maybe the biggest bet was the Rams money line. I don't know. I know that we were kind of like grading things as we were going, and that Cooper Kupp rush was the most expensive play of the game.
So I told Pete, but I went to Radio Row Tuesday, and I'm talking to this guy who I will not specify who he is, but he says I'm the best NFL Super Bowl bettor ever. He's 29-5 against the spread in his career betting the Super Bowl. He did have the Rams spread, so he actually lost. And this is like I'd say he's probably 50 years old, like an old-fashioned bettor, not PC at all. And he said on Tuesday, he texted his bookie. He said, "What odds can I get that Joe Burrow will leave the game and not return with a knee injury? Only the knee qualifies." His bookie gave him 5,000 to 1 for $500. He was going to pay him $2.5 million if he got knocked out of the game with only a knee injury. It's the most sick, fucked up bet in the world. But could you imagine?
Price.
For the bookie, put a horrible price, right?
Yeah.
Horrible.
Yeah, I said that's like incredible odds. But could you imagine at that point, like when it happened? There's no way he would have gotten paid out. Yeah, there was no way he was getting paid out. But like to say that on Tuesday and then he actually should have probably left the game, I was like, what the fuck is going on?
Wild.
Pete, we only have you for a short time, right? You got a game tonight?
We have a big game tonight. The team that I would have laid big money on winning the championship were 1-4. We've lost 3 games by 3 points or less. We now have 4 ex-D1 college players. We're playing in the toilet bowl tonight. It's a must-win game.
Wait, you've been recruiting, beefing up your roster as you guys
We
lose
beefed
games?
up. We have been beefing up our roster and still losing.
Is this? Tell me this is Peter Jennings recruiting.
I mean, dude, we have this guy who played at Yale. We have like all these guys who are sick. Like our average, like last game, our starting lineup, the shortest guy was 6'3", and we were like 6'3", 6'5", 6'7", 6'7", 6'9", and we lost to a team that's tallest guy was 6'3".
Did you boot Levitan?
Levitan has been. I mean, Levitan's playing decent. Levitan and I need to.
Levitan's 5'6", and I didn't hear any of that mentioned as you were.
Oh, he's nowhere near the starting lineup with our guys in place. Nowhere near it.
Oh my goodness! So,
but tonight we're missing two of our guys. Levitan and I are gonna have to start and play well. It's embarrassing. It's just a big game.
Levitan had what happened to me my junior year of high school, and I was playing, and then our coach started recruiting. He recruited this 6'5" guy from the Netherlands, and then a guy from a different district. Next thing you know, I just keep sliding down the bench a few more spots. So I just want you to know what you did to Levitan. It's not cool, Pete.
Yeah, it's not good. I mean,
it's less.
We lost
cool
a game by 3. We got Jersey, I think, for 5 points. There's snow. Our freaking recruits show up like 10 minutes late. And then last game, we gave up 82 points in 20-minute running halves. I mean, how does that happen? We're going to zone tonight.
I think I heard Adam. He's just counting down the days until he can get in that over 40 league.
Oh, Adam's going to be great in the over 40 league.
What, Jack, you were playing? What was the run that you were playing in Vegas or in LA?
We hosted a pickup / networking run in LA with Buzzer, who we're working with. So they brought out a bunch of dope people. We invited people who were out in the Preston came out. Preston Johnson, Sports Cheetah, fucking water from 3. Was just rolling up the court casually. I thought he was slowing down the fast break. No one was open. He just picked the ball up, looked at the rim, and hit one from 30 feet. I was like, Jesus Christ. We had a dope squad out there. We'll do another one in New York. I'll invite Mike and Andy when we run that. It's going to be in Manhattan though, Andy, just so you know, just to preface.
I can make it. I'll figure it out.
Although I've seen some networking runs, there's a Miami one that got to play at the Bitcoin Arena or whatever it's called. So maybe we get Barclays. Maybe we'll play at Barclays one day. But yeah, that was fun. It's a cool concept because I think when you think about the sports industry or crypto, NFT, all of it, when you're in an active environment, sports is very similar to the workplace in a lot of ways. So it's a cool way to kind of meet new people and also get a good run in.
NBL, anything? Have you been lining up for these pack drops? Do you continue to get just blessed with MGLEs in all your packs?
Just grinding every drop. Did a UFC drop today. I got an NFL Pro Bowl pack, which I'm not proud of, but I have one. I got the elite packs and the standard packs. I'm just buying them all. Can't miss a pack drop.
Have you ever missed a pack drop, or if there's a pack drop, you're going for it?
I've missed, but because of logistical issues, not because I'm just sitting here and saying, not going to do it. I just jump in. It's easy enough.
Yeah.
I like it. I like the grind. I'm still doing the flash challenges and things. Having a good time out there.
Have you? Are there flash? Is your account big enough to where it's just you literally adding them, or do you actually ever have to go get something on the marketplace to complete?
No, I always have to because I only have.
It's like Series 3 shit, right?
Yeah, exactly. So you need Series 3 or these rookies. The new game is identifying bottlenecks. So they'll announce the flash challenge type, and it'll be most rebounds tonight. And everyone's going to go find Jared Vanderbilt or whoever's going to go have the most rebounds. And I'm I don't have that. I would have to go actively buy a Vanderbilt. So I've had to go buy a few things. My collection is deeper than it is wide. I have a lot of the moments I like and not that many different moments. So I'm very poorly positioned for flash challenges.
Oh, that reminds me, NBL, what I came back to, and I'm curious if Andy got it as well, but the Cool Cats gifts just keep coming here. We got a hat, and we got my Cool Cats hoodie.
The hat is really nice.
Has it? I haven't put it on yet.
I have this, so I don't need that.
Is this not the greatest concept and worst execution of all time?
How does it not have the kickstand to hold it up?
Like,
yeah, it really needs something to be desired.
like, the day I got it, I turned it on, took a picture, and I don't think it's been powered on since.
How does it not have a stand? Like, where are you supposed to put it? Like, what's the ideal place?
It's not even that. It's like, what are you supposed to? I can't have it running all day long. Like, let me turn it off. Let me change the moment. Like, I feel like this could be improved.
V2.
Yeah, V2. It's in beta, some would say.
Mike, how does it make you feel that whenever I think about Cool Cats or get anything with Cool Cats, that it's not about the collection, it's not about the gifts I've gotten, it's literally only you. Collector? It's only you that come to mind when I think of Cool Cats.
I would say I feel I appreciate it. It makes me feel loved. And I'm really happy for you. How is this sweatshirt? Is it comfortable?
It seems comfortable. I literally just took it out of the packaging, but it seems like high quality.
It can't be as comfortable as the Club Top Shot sweatshirt. That is just like another world.
Yeah, I'm not gonna compare anything to those best shirts in the world. I'm trying to figure out what brand it is. Andy, could you figure out what it is? I don't see anything on it.
No, I haven't tried it on yet either, so I don't know. No,
my only complaint is like, I just don't need this much text on the front. Like this is that thing that's like. It says, from monstrous throwdowns to awe-inspiring rejections, the Cool Cat set includes moments from rising phenoms, established superstars, and fan favorites from around the league.
Okay. I would maybe put that on the inside, actually.
Yeah. But free hoodies, and by free, I mean grinding the premier set on NBA Top Shot. Andy, what's going on in the world of NFTs? I saw you tweeting about strip club in the metaverse, got you in trouble with the misses. What's up with that?
Yeah, I thought it was a funny tweet. I don't know. Let's see. Azukis have still been doing really well. Kind of feels like there hasn't been like a new hot project. I think people are kind of burned out from minting stuff a little bit. But yeah, I feel like things have been relatively stagnant for like, a week, which feels like an eternity in NFTs. But generally, I think prices have held pretty steady, which is a good thing. With ETH going back up in price, I think most people would be surprised by that. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like not that much has gone on. The Cool Cat milk stuff came out today.
The biggest on-chain sale ever that was relevant for like an hour.
Oh yeah, I forgot.
Right,
I forgot that an alien CryptoPunk sold for $25 million.
That is funny because I remember, Jack, you pulled that up. I think no, maybe Nick pulled it up when we were on a stream.
Yeah.
And it already feels like that was forgotten, but clearly we all forgot it. Was there any stories, Andy, behind the buyer of that?
He's bought a ton of stuff. He bought one of the like one of one mutant apes. He's dropped a lot of Ethereum on stuff. I don't know what his deal is. I don't know why he is so wealthy. He runs a company called chain.com. I have no idea what they do. Kind of all feels a little bit like marketing for chain.com, but smart by him. I don't know that much about him though. I know the seller personally. Happy for them, obviously. But yeah, I don't really know the buyer.
Pete, I'm sure your business self, did you love that Coinbase ad during the Super Bowl?
Yeah, I thought that was awesome. I thought the whole thing was great. Just how crypto I think had a good showing, and I actually think the best crypto commercial that we got was from the Canadian government and Chrystia Freeland. That was a surprise, and normally, government FUD sends prices down, and we immediately got a rally, which I don't know if is exactly correlated with that, but I did think it was truly like the best advertisement for Bitcoin potentially ever. Do you guys follow this closely?
No, let people know or catch people up on it.
It's worth playing the video. I can send you the
Okay.
I'll send it to you. It's worth.
And as you're sending this to me, I will also pull up in other football / Cryptopunk news. Pretty sick of Odell to tweet out this photo. I'm so skeptical of everything right now too that I immediately thought this was like some kind of Photoshop or something. Whereas like all the Bored Ape people wanted a Bored Ape during the halftime show. I thought, oh, this was the Cryptopunk people coping here, but no, he's actually wearing.
I mean, it is funny that he doesn't even have his Punk as his pick anymore.
Yeah, what is this? Is this a Dead Friends?
Yeah, or Dead Fellas.
Dead Fellas.
It's one of them.
Yeah,
that's funny.
Vaughn is deep in the streets though of NFTs
Yeah.
too. Had a Cryptopunk for his avatar for about 28 minutes.
We talked about that last week.
Yeah.
All right, let's see this video here.
You gotta play with the sound.
Yeah.
With anyone involved in the illegal blockades and report to the RCMP or CSIS. As of today, a bank or other financial service provider will be able to immediately freeze or suspend an account without a court order. In doing so, they will be protected against civil liability for actions taken in good faith. Federal government institutions will have a new broad authority to share relevant information with banks and other financial service providers to ensure their relationships with anyone involved in the illegal blockades.
I think that was it.
Yeah, she goes on to say crowdfunding, and they can go after crypto transactions. Yeah, I mean, this is literally part of what why Bitcoin was created, and it's crazy. In Canada, they literally, without a court order, can just shut down and freeze your bank accounts now.
So
Absolutely.
it's funny. I got into a fight with my cousin. This was like 3 or 4 years ago, about how we were sitting at dinner, and I'll never forget like the conversation about how you don't truly own your money, right? And it was almost impossible for him to grasp the concept, because the idea that this would happen in America, where your money's insured and we're the freest country with democracy and all this great stuff, that realistically we don't have to worry about something like that. And so you can reference the third world countries or the crazy shit that's happened in Greece, but like if it's not your US dollars, you're never thinking, okay, that could be me. But literally Canada, our next door neighbor, is saying shit like that. And like that's why I think it is super bullish for crypto, because you could in theory be the only one left with money that you have control over. And that, in the same way that it's bullish for crypto, it's really fucking scary if you're Canadian that they're going to those lengths. So I think it's just crazy watching that. It's actually crazy.
And it's not even that, removed from stuff that happens here in the States with civil forfeiture, in the way that, you can get pulled over for something and they can seize all of your assets even before you've been convicted of any crime and stuff. I know John Oliver did a whole show on that a few years back, but man, that stuff, it hits closer to home than we probably realize.
Yeah, I'd love to hear Andy and Mike's perspective on this. I don't know how closely you guys followed, but I thought it was probably the biggest story in crypto this week.
Yeah, I haven't followed too much of like a lot of the political stuff around this, just because I've been really busy. But I think like it's kind of like it's like you guys were saying, it's kind of the point of all of this to a certain extent. Like the kind of the origin of a lot of this had nothing to do with collecting JPEGs of rare aliens and shit like that, but it was about actually having self-sovereign money, and like that stuff is still very important to me. And so like it's cool it's not a cool thing, but it's cool to see like some of the theories you have around that actually kind of play out in real time. Be like, yeah, maybe this isn't as crazy as it sounds. But I think Jack had a really good point about how it's really, really hard for like Americans and people in first world countries to totally understand some of like the implications of what it means. It's like I spent, in my time at Maker, my boss he was Argentinian, Still is, just not my boss anymore. But he DAI there was incredibly popular because Argentina had these really like strict and archaic laws around being able to own US dollars, and they were like taxed really heavily, and they had like limits that you can only buy like $10,000 worth of US dollars a year and all this stuff because they wanted you to use their currency that was being hyperinflated. And so it was like a very real DAI as a decentralized stablecoin was a very, very real use case for people there, where it allowed him and like his family and stuff to, over the last however many years, avoid the crazy inflation that was happening in the country because he was aware of this stuff and was able to onboard like himself and his family. And so like seeing use cases like that and stories like that really does help you like kind of recenter around that. Like this isn't all just Ponzi's and trying to make as much money as possible as fast as possible. Like there is real use cases and reasons why this stuff is important.
The same thing's happening in Nigeria as well. I heard Tether is the most popular currency right there now because they threatened, to shut down like crypto accounts and stuff. And so now all of their like peer-to-peer transactions that people just kind of like settle with is with Tether on the Tron network of all places, which is pretty hilarious. But it goes to show you like these cryptos are finding real utility in places that need them.
Mike.
So I think Andy hit on a lot of good points, and so did you, Jennings. I think that the short version of it is effectively with U.S. dollars, Canadian dollars, any fiat. We're trusting a government to act, one, rationally, and two, defining rationally in a way that works in our personal best interest. So a government may do something that's good for an overall country, but not necessarily good for your assets. A government may also do things like, I'm sure the Canadian government is sitting there and they have their reasoning for doing what they're doing and they feel like it's protecting their citizens, but their views may not align with your views. And it's the whole idea of your savings, your money is, even if they aren't directly seizing it, they can impact monetary policy, which pushes inflation up, which effectively cuts your savings and reduces the buying power of your assets. And so if you want to disentangle yourself from your government's decisions, you have to sit in currencies that are outside of governmental regulation or reach. And the governments are going to work hard to bring it back within their reach. They already regulate crypto pretty aggressively, and they can take more aggressive steps. It's a government reach is going to be important here, and I think that's why, as sketchy as everything we've seen recently is in crypto, a lot of it is an emphasis on privacy and true privacy. Like the thing with the Looks Rare team, for example, where they cashed out through Tornado Cash. It seems sketchy, but look, if you're in their shoes, maybe you're sitting there and saying, hey, we truly do not trust the government. We can't have a paper trail of our assets. If we do, we might as well just have US dollars. After all, the digital forensic analysis can trace you back to who you are. And so we're taking extra precautions today to truly stay anonymous, to stay off the grid and do all these things. And I don't know, I think I'm probably not as aggressively on that side of the equation, but I think you can reasonably take the position that level of privacy is prudent,
especially in today's day where everything is shared and everything's out in public.
Yeah, we've been trading our privacy in for convenience, which it's okay when a lot of people are just making that trade-off all the time, and that's just the nature of the world we're living in, and that's a trade-off. But I get it. They're the reason that the Canadian government's making these swift actions. They're trying to get these truckers to stop. They're trying to get them to go home, I guess is the best way to put it. But to me, it's very,
what
very
did happen. What was
so truckers have been basically blocking key roads and bridges and really impacting goods coming in and out of Canada. So it is directly impacting the
because
country.
They want only Canadian goods, or what's the reasoning?
No, it's around the vaccine.
Oh,
the mandatory vaccine stuff in Canada. which is a whole nother thing. I definitely don't want to get into that. But the financial aspect of it to me is extremely disturbing, given where Canada is, a first world country, our biggest partner. I mean, Canada has been pretty good to people, I think, over a long stretch of time, and just unilaterally saying, "Hey, we're invoking this, and without a court order, we can freeze and seize your assets," is absolutely insane. So I mean, we'll see what transpires. There's some good stuff. Cynthia Loomis was retweeted something that I put up just recently. Basically, Warren Davidson said our office will be introducing legislation in the U.S. House of Representatives shortly to protect Americans from this version of overt theft. Please let your member of Congress and senators know. I hope that this just becomes an issue that people try to tack on, because it's scary to me to see Canada do this. But I don't know. We'll see what transpires going forward.
Colin says truckers are blocking Canadian roads until hardcore is released.
Amazing. And TJ's comment is just as funny because our producer on the podcast is Canadian, so that's how I get all my Canadian news, and we haven't recorded in 5 days. So if I have been doing content, I probably would have known. Last thing on this, Pete, you talked about how it kind of rallied against the news, which would actually be a logical response. It's also crazy that, like, I have a friend in crypto who didn't even understand, who was like, and they'll also seize crypto transactions, and they literally own crypto and don't understand the difference between on exchange versus in a cold wallet and owning that. So it's just so early in that regard.
Yeah, that was the next conversation I think a lot of people were having on Twitter, and Kobe and a bunch of people had some really funny but really great tweets. Yeah, I mean, having your money on an exchange it's you're trusting your assets with that exchange. So we'll see what transpires. I do think it's a big deal, and I'm interested to see what regulation and what other things happen here in the U.S.
Yeah, it's definitely something to keep our eyes on here. I also feel like I always feel a little numb to these stories too, because it's like a running meme that China bans Bitcoin, like every 6 months. But I guess when it's Canada, we're starting to get much closer to stuff.
Look at the government in China. It's a communist. They just made a very similar action to what China would do, essentially.
Right. Yeah.
I think even like the Onion or the Bible came out and like was saying how Xi Jinping was like, that it was funny. I'll put that in the chat somewhere too. But anyways, we can move on.
Yeah. Mike, anything else going on in Top Shot that's interesting you? I know we're going to get the All-Star pack drop coming up here. They just announced that.
There are some angry people on Twitter right now because there are All-Star game moments coming, and the moments from the actual game are from, I don't know what they did, Western Conference and Eastern Conference, I think. But apparently either from the dunk contest or the three-point contest, they are from teams. So you would be Vince Carter on the Raptors in a dunk contest, for example. Whereas if it were the All-Star game itself, he would be Western Conference. And the important difference there is if you're a team set holder, you won't have a full team set unless you have one of those legendary All-Star game moments, is what at least how people are interpreting it right now. So people are angry, saying that their team sets are going to be broken by these expensive All-Star game assets that shouldn't count towards team sets. And so that is what's kicking around right now. Otherwise, I don't know, a couple of flash challenges, not too much else kicking around. I mean, they've still been working through that the issue with the loot box style packs. I think we talked about that last week, right?
Yeah, has there been any updates on that?
They're still doing them. It's interesting because a lot of people have been asking for this for a while, and now that they're out, people are realizing that the implications of that are you can get a bad pack.
It's so good. No, it has been so funny on Twitter. Like, oh my God, my packs are so shitty. It's like, well, that's how you get a fucking legendary, is you rip a lot of shitty ass packs. Like, it is unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean, it's clear people want a riskless pack, meaning that like, no matter what's in there, you profit with the opportunity for a very, very high end moment. And if not that, then Top Shot is dead.
I
Yeah.
assume they fixed the issue though on this most recent pack drop, but
Yeah, it seems like the randomization issue is solved, so that the user base has moved on to other things.
I mean that was a fair gripe.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I still don't get that.
I don't know if it's a fair gripe necessarily, given that they're in beta, but
I don't. I think it's a fair gripe. I don't know what the hell could be going on behind the scenes that makes randomization hard. That's like a very basic concept.
It happened and Run It Back, like the first pack.
Yeah, no, the duplicates in.
Yeah.
I got 14 Udonis Haslams in like 12
Yeah, imagine
packs.
getting 14 like Durant's. Like that would have been fucking nuts.
Well, a bunch of people got a lot of Giannis's during that.
Yeah, that's
did not.
crazy.
Yeah, because I think the dynamic that was happening too is most people who got the elite packs were like fairly happy and that they were, most of them were pretty positive EV packs, but then the people lining up for the commons were getting pretty dusty packs and they were very upset about that. Is that
they're all
so were there
EV packs, just for the record. Some people revealed negative packs relative to the pack cost.
Right. People still don't understand plus EV packs though.
Huh?
People still think plus EV means that you spend 50, you get at least $51 back.
Yeah, people think EV expected value just means like guaranteed profit. I don't know how people interpret it, but incorrectly is the
I think it's like risk-free value.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Well,
or if they open up packs that are worth like $8 from a $19 pack, then the pack was negative expected value.
Right.
And then, and people's view on this has just still been so distorted from their first experiences back in, January and February. I mean, because no one opens a pack of cards. And it's like, this is going to be worth so much money, right? It's almost everyone kind of knows that you're approaching it from a lotto ticket type element. But somehow with Top Shot, I've entitled to a really high floor and the chance at a ceiling.
Yeah.
Agreed.
They just released the Super Bowl packs or the dates for them. Tomorrow, Commons, 4 p.m. Eastern, and Friday. They haven't said what time.
That's actually going to be a pretty good one too, because, one of the narratives too about the Super Bowl and the Rams were, they just loaded up on stars, and it were the stars that had all the big moments, Odell, Kupp, Aaron Donald. So I bet there's going to be some pretty sick moments in that.
And it's interesting because in the trading card world, it was actually a super bearish postseason. Matt Stafford is the only quarterback pretty much who had an actual shot towards the end, whose card doesn't sell for anything. And the Burrows got so high, they got priced in that Allen Mahomes territory. So that's going to really hit them hard. But, I think that is somewhat of the difference that we've always talked about. Like these moments actually capture plays, which are significant versus, these still cardboard where all it is the player's rep throughout their career.
That's interesting. Is Allen anywhere near Mahomes in terms of the cards, or they're just like really?
Not near, but he was too. Like in terms of active players outside of like Brady, like Allen shit will sell for more than Rodgers right now, like more than Breeze, more than Manning. Like that's how hot his stuff was.
Have we gotten any updates on an all-day marketplace ETA?
I haven't
UFC's
seen anything.
marketplace came out today, and then they shut it back down for a few hours, and apparently they're like reopening it tomorrow. I don't know what's going on. I think NFL is supposed to come pretty soon.
I saw someone write in the chat earlier, like, don't list Kaz Campbell. If you're in NFL all day, don't be the dude listing any moment for under $25. How are ballers doing, by the way?
Ballers have been doing good. Last I looked, their floor was around $1,500 of dirty fiat.
Yeah. I got to bounce, guys, but I'll leave you with this. Yeah. Man, Lazy Lions have just come roaring back. Unbelievable. Lazy
No.
Lions legitimately have roared back.
They got
They're
the
even in
Coinbase
the
announcement.
Coinbase
No?
NFT backdrop. They're look at the floor. It's something crazy.
It's 1.85.
Gosh, the Lazy Lions.
Pete,
Wrong
please
on
don't
that one,
ever,
too.
please don't
They're
ever.
I'm leaving on the
Lazy.
Lazy Lions. Love you guys.
Good luck.
Hey, the MFers flipped the Lazy Lions though, and that feels like a big win out there. What was up with some of those Coinbase partnerships? Like they seem all over the map, right?
All over the place.
Yeah, I don't know.
They're out of
Plunge-
touch.
What's Plunge doing
Yeah, I was
over
about to say
there?
the same thing.
I asked Plunge.
He did, like
I
privately
did.
or
I was like,
publicly?
what the hell's going on? I was like, did you sign off on this?
I think Jennings just sent a DM to our group. I have 0 Lazy Lions for what it's worth. We know you're not pumping your Lazy Lions bags. Yeah, some really weird ones. What was the was it Hapes that
Ape, yeah.
yeah,
And Pudgy Penguins.
and Pudgy Penguins. Yeah, I mean, Andy, what are your expectations for that marketplace? Like, do you have any thoughts on it?
To be honest, very little. I don't know. I don't really know what to expect. I have low expectations and I'm ready to be blown away. But I think that we underestimate just how much work goes into moving people off of OpenSea or to any of these other things. And I don't know what
X2Y2, Andy?
Yeah.
What do you think of that?
Yeah. I don't know. Cool.
Yeah, even with Looks Rare, like I keep telling myself, list on Looks Rare, and then I'll literally 2 hours later go and list on OpenSea, and I'm like, fuck. Like even when it's front of mind, it's still so hard to break out of that routine.
Yeah, big time.
Have you been using Gem at all, Andy?
I have been. It's really good.
Yeah. I've been going there more and more, just even for browsing, even if you're not quote unquote sweeping the floor, it's like a really nice UI and overall user experience.
Wait, Gen
Yeah.
XYZ?
It's Gem XYZ. I think they're in beta right now.
Is that
Yeah.
that's different than Genie or whatever?
Similar concept, but I didn't have as much experience with Genie, but it seems
Gotcha.
much better.
Like Genie's like a just floor sweeping tool from my experience. Gem is what? Like a marketplace more? I hadn't heard of that.
Andy, what are the differences, would you say, between Gem and Genie?
Yeah, so there's actually a little bit of drama there. They originally were one team and they split into two teams. I'm happy to talk about the tea with you guys some other time. I won't talk about it on the live stream. But
Gotcha.
The Gem team, so the Gem.
Oh, they literally ripped the. Oh, that could not have gone down well. I mean, it is the same thing.
Yeah, I don't think it was a super happy breakup. But yeah, so Gem comparatively to Genie, kind of outside of the UI stuff, because each one's going to have their own UI, whatever. So Gem has their own rarity rankings, which I think is really cool, and so they show you rarity when you're looking and all of that, which I like a lot. And then they also are more gas optimized, so it's actually cheaper if, say, you're going to buy 10 NFTs, either from OpenSea itself or sweeping the floor or something. It's actually cheaper to do it on Gem than it is even to do it on OpenSea natively, which is really impressive. And it's a significant amount cheaper. It's double-digit percentages cheaper.
And that's just something in their code that they're able to batch and make the transactions more efficient.
Yeah, just some optimizations in their smart contract code. I haven't spent the time to get into the specifics there of what that is, but their code's just really nicely optimized.
Gotcha. What happens? I know just because there's been so many of these issues with people having old listings that were still up, and if they were to move something back to an old wallet, that listing might still be active. Are there any concerns if you have things listed, like if I have one thing listed on OpenSea and then another thing listed on Looks Rare, and like that one of them sells, I mean, is it still instantaneous settling, like that listing is no longer available on OpenSea, or do you know how that stuff works?
So there's definitely a world. I don't know enough. So like, let's say you had maybe a better example is like, let's say you listed something for cheaper on Looks Rare because the fee is less and you wanted to get the rewards. So you listed for 1/8 cheaper on Looks Rare. I think there could be a world where like, if someone was buying it on OpenSea from you, there could be like a bot that would see that transaction in the mempool and then go and snipe it up like front run and buy it off Looks Rare instead, basically knowing that someone was willing to buy at the previous price and then try to like relist it. I think that that'd be possible. I don't think that like there's so much of a vig in doing it at all because of the royalties and 2.5% fee and stuff. I don't think it'd be lucrative. So I don't think it's really too much of a risk. You do have the risk that say you did that and then eventually you bought it back or whatever. That listing would still be valid on the other exchange. So you'd have to make sure to cancel it. But I don't think there's too much risk there otherwise.
Yeah, I mean, it does seem like that. I don't know where that use case would show up for me, but I mean, you could imagine someone selling a high profile NFT, say a Bored Ape, and the floor crashes and they still have their emotional attachment to their ape, and they go buy back that ape and then have a bogus listing attached to it. That'd be pretty brutal. Let's see here. We are gonna have our guy CC Kings hop on in a few minutes. If you want to hop on to open some of the Top Shot packs. Anything else on your guys' mind this week?
I would love to hear about the Looks Rare stuff. I've only seen it from the tweets. I was at dinner with my buddy who got into the round. He said it was the greatest thing ever there. It was like printing 1 Ethereum a day, which sounded quite nice. So I saw all the different numbers. I don't think like it's shocking that you invest early and the platform kind of takes off a bit. But I don't know if anyone has more to share.
Yeah, so I also invested.
Not enough.
Good investment. No, not enough. And so like I think that's one of the things that's interesting about it is people are like, oh, all these influencers got like this freebie deal, but like literally, I talked with people who passed on the round entirely because they were like, the valuation's too high. I don't want to do it. Like very smart people. I won't say who, but like well-respected, very smart people in the NFT space. And like me and Deez were talking about it. And it's like, yeah, I don't want to do the full like 35 ETH. It's too much risk. Like I don't know what they're gonna do. And so like we did less. Like obviously I definitely fucked up. But like it wasn't like everyone was like, oh yeah, we're gonna make so much money on this. Like everyone's screwed, idiots. And so I think that there was a bit of a just kind of like Twitter trolls getting mad scenario there.
I mean, when I saw Cole Ethereum made $1 million, I think that is probably what most people were pissed about.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess I'm less confused unless there was something actually shady with the mechanics. I mean, you're taking on risk when you invest, and there's a massive chance it flopped.
From an outside perspective, I think what was marketed or at least presented to the general population was like the founders or investors' looks tokens are locked, right? And so that gave people a great bit of confidence that it wasn't going to be a pump and dump. While in reality, which is obviously true, it was just there was less sharing, I think, of that they were also receiving wrapped Ethereum daily based on staking rewards, which obviously benefited investors.
Yeah, so basically, like there was an outsized portion of the total looks that were being staked to earn the Ethereum rewards was the seed round investors and like the team tokens, because most of the looks tokens hadn't been distributed yet. So while the investor and team tokens only added up to 13.5% or whatever, over the first month or so, it was significantly more than that percentage of the rewards pool being paid out to them. And so people were upset about that, but that was always very publicly clear in like the documents and everything. I think that, like, it's one of those things where could it have been done better? Probably. Did anyone in any way hide any information from anyone about like what the mechanics were here? No. And so I think people just got mad because the price was going down. And so then you find stuff to be mad about. Yeah.
Right. And it wasn't, they were getting the WETH rewards. The looks that they are getting are locked up for months still, correct?
Yeah. So yeah, we don't even get so like the looks that we got in that angel investment are locked. But also, like, you know how when you stake looks on the platform, you earn looks and wrapped Ethereum. We're just not earning looks. That's not part of it for us.
Yeah.
We're only earning the Ethereum.
Right. And that's why when people, it's like, are mad that the price is down, it's not like people with the early investors were dumping their looks. Like they were just reaping their rewards from their large position.
Yeah. I mean, I have the same view of this that I do when like people go to the Top Shot packs and are upset with the outcome. It's like all the information is out there. It's like full information. The team hasn't done anything that is outside of what they guided people toward. I think that what's happening is exactly to Greg's point, because the outcome's not what you wanted it to be. People start looking for fall people and someone to get angry at, and so that, you know, they're pointing at this. And look, obviously Cole is a scumbag, and you know that wasn't a great start. But I mean, look, I think it's better for the ecosystem, for the whole sector, if there are competitors for OpenSea. And the team does seem to do a good job of producing a quality product, being very responsive on communications, communicating as well as they can, being as transparent as they can. And I think what they've done is good so far. I think they're pushing through changes and improvements every day, and everything they've done is within the bounds of what they said they could do, basically. And overall, that's a net positive for the space. People will be angry because the price of the token went down, and I think, you know, even the ability for people to, you know, the early stakers, the seed investors, and the founders to take cash off the platform, that was known up front. It was talked about in a lot of threads that were released, basically saying the tokens are locked, but the rewards won't be locked. So I don't know. I actually don't hold any Looks tokens right now because I'm part of the Trezor group that hasn't been able to claim my tokens yet. So I'm just kind of watching from the sideline. But I sympathize with the Looks team and the early investors, and that everyone's kind of acting above board. The platform's developing well. It's like, what's the issue here?
I think it comes from a place of everything was out there, obviously, but it was also like no one was really mentioning how much they were making daily, which is normal. Like, I don't think it's a moral thing. I don't think they necessarily had to, but it was one of those situations where it was like, if, you know, they're pumping looks, not necessarily pumping, just they're excited about looks going up. But really, they know what's happening on the back end. And while it was all out there, we know how little research, like it would be naive to say like everyone was aware of it. And so I think that's where a lot of people are coming from. I'm personally not bitter about it. I hope Andy gets rich. The only thing I'm bitter about is that I'm not in the round. And I think that might be what people were upset about. You're right. It's not unfair, but I think it's fair to say like, people are definitely still surprised, even though all of this was stated, you know, deep in the heart of the project.
And I wonder, I was just going to say, to me, my criticism would be, did they not smooth out the incentive structure enough to encourage like healthy adoption, where it was like this fire hose? Everyone's like, my God, this is free money or whatever. And then people all knew when the emissions were getting halved, and then everyone got out. Now it's like, is it going to be able to maintain the momentum of adoption, where it was great there for a little while, but I just wonder if there could have been a more elegant rollout to those rewards.
I mean, so yeah, what I was going to say is this is exactly how they designed it. Like if anyone who went deep into the tokenomics, this is exactly what you would expect to happen. The incentives were set up such that there would be crazy, albeit artificial volume on the platform, which generates a ton of fees for founders, for seed investors, for stakers, for everyone participating. And when those rewards go down, the incentive or the appeal of the platform, or staking on the platform, goes down a bit, which drags the price of the token down with it. But what they did is they opened up a window for themselves to execute, where that window is wide open, because they got everyone's eyeballs, they got everyone involved. A bunch of people made a bunch of money off it. A bunch of people talked about it, but they set it up in such a way that they basically give themselves, 30 to 60 days to bring the platform to a position where it is a good enough alternative to OpenSea, have everyone aligned with them, essentially, bring people into the seed round who have a big following, which is kind of another form of marketing along with the staking itself. And I think anyone who dug into the tokenomics, this is exactly what you would expect to have played out. And this was their strategy kind of upfront. They invited wash trading for eyeballs to push up staking rewards. And that was kind of their marketing approach. It was a blitz, and they've done step one of attention and volume. Step two is, can they now execute with that attention and volume before people start going back to the incumbent now that the rewards are less exciting?
I think, playing devil's advocate, it's like, why wasn't, right? If the tokenomics of it were so clear, Mike, why did no one say, hey guys, like, pay attention when this date hits, right?
I think a lot of people said that.
Maybe. I didn't see anything about that. That's just like, I think sometimes we forget like how involved a lot of the people are like, oh, Looks is a new platform, this is a good buy. They follow 4 big time people. Those people were all invested. They're like, okay, I'll buy some. Those 4 big time people aren't going to be like, hey, by the way, in 2 weeks when the halvening happens, essentially everything's going to drop in half, right? Like, that's not natural to happen.
So this is the funny part of because based on the conversation we had earlier with what's going on in Canada right now, the result of what you're saying right now is heavily regulated things where you need to do an S1. And S1 is the document you file before a company IPOs with specific disclosures, highlighted risks, all information like that. You can only have accredited investors to address exactly what you're talking about. And the nature of this space is, we don't need that crap. Let's give it open access to everyone, and all the information is there. They had their emissions charts, they had their rewards charts. And so I don't disagree with what you're saying, but it's the nature of the industry to not have to do those things.
Yeah.
They gave all the information they needed to give. A lot of smart people put out threads that I can just piggyback on and pretend I know what I'm talking about, but really I just read their threads. And
I think that's
that's the space. You have to follow the right people, and
it's an excellent point, and we talk about it all the time. Like, do your research, but really, like, everyone should kind of be given the chance to do what they want and make decisions accordingly, or they shouldn't, right? Like, there is an argument that people aren't well educated enough, and it's not a fair and even playing ground. And I think the person or people who win out, maybe, but maybe not, because these people made a lot of money. But the people who win out could be the ones who are open and honest. And even if it does hurt their bags, right? Like we talk about all the time, everyone is pumping their own bags in some form or fashion, but who's that kind of person who's going to come out and it's not FUD and they actually have money into, like, it's very interesting to see how it's going to evolve over time. But I think you make a fantastic point. Like, which game do we want to play? Because you definitely can't have it all the ways, but there'll be different personalities throughout.
Yeah, and I even remember it was like day 2 or 3, and it was like people thought they discovered the wash trading element as if it was some risky thing, and then Dingaling put out a long thread of like, no, this is the design of the site, and our marketing is to allow this, and it did its job. The question is, can they keep this momentum going?
Yeah, so this was before my time. Smack in the middle of Andy time, because Andy is from the beginning of crypto time. Rarible had a similar model to this. So the Rarible token distribution, I don't know that much about it, but my understanding is it had very similar tokenomics where it basically incentivized wash trading, which got a bunch of attention, eyeballs, and fees driven in that direction. And then as the incentives wore off, I think the appeal of the platform did, and they did not take advantage of their open window, and the question is going to be, can Looks Rare take advantage of this window before them basically paying people to use the platform runs off?
Yeah, Yeah, and it's hard. I mean, Dan in the chat saying it's going to evolve to where there are more situations like this, and it'll be increasingly harder to figure out all the key information about new projects. And I do get that too. And there's a huge FOMO culture right now with like NFT and crypto stuff. Like when everyone says we're still so early, the other side of that coin is people feel like they have to move so fast. Otherwise they're going to miss out on something. And often that means not doing your research because you're just terrified that, you know, the train's going to leave the station and you're going to have missed your chance. That also results in people buying into projects, ecosystems, coins that they know nothing about, or the mechanics or the roadmap. So I don't know. It's tough. And not all of us are blessed with Andy's Solidity, you know, knowledge where we can just audit, you know, contracts and stuff in real time and know who's full of shit and who isn't.
Yeah. Shout out Melania Trump. She'll be there one day.
That's right. Jack and Melania go to Andy's coding boot camp. I will say, surprise, surprise, we got rugged on doing a Top Shot pack opening. Our guy was CC Kings had hopped on and we're talking in the private chat. The marketplace is down right now and can't open packs. So we might have to shelve the pack openings until next week.
They're in beta, so be patient. But one thing I'm not going to be as patient about, because I have to fucking go to Cleveland on Thursday, is they said we're going to have some big activation. I don't doubt it. I know that their people are going, but I mean, give your boy some heads up. Like, what do we got going on? What are we going to do that's fun in Cleveland?
I'm guessing, I don't know. They haven't given that much information there. I never know if that's like do they have to be like secretive about it? Is it confidential, or they just don't have their plans lined up yet? I don't know. I wanted to be out there this weekend. Sad.
They kind of did this with
what happened?
What do you say?
Pinball convention, or what do you got going on?
No, I don't know who from the family is watching, but I have a commitment to go to my in-laws' home in the Berkshires. I'm very excited. I would not rather be at the NBA All-Star game. I love my in-laws, my mother-in-law, my father-in-law, my brother-in-law, my wife. It'll be a great time. I do not wish I was going to the NBA All-Star game instead.
Is this the annual NBL Vault family reunion where you guys kind of discuss all the assets and maybe get like a thicker key to keep them nice and
some
secure?
governance.
No, it's with the in-laws. It's with the in-laws.
Okay.
How far is the Hall of Fame from where you bought your pinball machine, Mike?
Wow, I don't know. I'm young enough that I don't know where anything actually is. I just put it in the GPS. So let me look right now. Great question, because maybe I can do kind of a 2-in-1 next time.
I thought that's why you were excited about the idea of an annual event. I figured they were pretty close by.
Yeah, David asking about this tweet from Taylor Rooks here. I'm hearing that Jalen Green is collaborating with NBA Top Shot for the dunk contest with NFTs in the mix.
And look at Eisenberg's reply.
His mind is blown. I mean, I think most people would expect there to be NFTs from the dunk contest. Do you think it has something to do with the immediacy of it? Like, I'm trying to think how it could actually be incorporated in real time.
I mean, he could, you know, they've got the chains for UFC. They could release moments the next day. I feel like there's a million things, even as little as on the shoes. They could dunk over Roham, which would be tough given that he's much taller than you would think. I mean, there's a lot of different ways, but I think
put on the big screen, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, you could, if you're at the dunk contest, maybe you scan a QR code and you are airdrop that moment. There's a million different things to do, but I think it's really interesting to talk about one, you know, that like the NFL All Days activation around Pro Bowl and Super Bowl.
What was that like? I saw your photo. I was kind of curious what the programming was.
Yeah, so at Pro Bowl in Vegas, they had a little content zone where they just got pretty much a bunch of Pro Bowlers in their gear, got a bunch of stock photos, used them to kind of advertise and market, even though they have not started marketing. I don't think so, because beta. But in LA, they had at Super Bowl Experience, It was like, I wasn't at the thing in Vegas, but I would imagine it was very similar. It was probably like a, I don't know, 100-foot wide kind of stand-up thing, bunch of screens. They were like back left corner. I doubt they got a lot of foot traffic. And it didn't like, it definitely showed the NFTs, but it didn't like, I don't think it would have like really drawn you in and be like, holy shit, like what's going on here? It just kind of looked like another thing with flashing lights. And there was nothing to do there besides sign up and get on the waiting list, which I thought was interesting. But then I guess they did have like players come by, sign shit, and open packs with users. So it's cool little stuff, but it is interesting to see them. That's got to be an expensive activation, that in Pro Bowl, and the money they paid. 10 Pro Bowlers can't be cheap either, unless maybe an NFL PA. We're only speculating here, but my whole thought on the thing is, one, do you see the return in dollars? They sponsored both the parties I was at, Drake and Bieber. They sponsored the NFL awards. So is it a general awareness play? And then two, the conversation of like, is that marketing? Are we going to act like we're not spending millions of dollars to put all day brand out there? They don't even have a marketplace. It's just all interesting. I don't know if it's necessarily good or bad. But the NFL experience thing definitely didn't I would say get 1 million people on the list, and they're advertising at parties like no one really knew what it was, in my opinion.
I think they need to start doing more, because I'm trying to envision in my head, what would my cynical ass actually find cool at an activation like that?
Yeah.
I think they need to start doing more stuff with I guess the Top Shot version of a Pope or a POAP or whatever, where you get a photo in front of it in their cool thing, and they mint that moment to your Dapper account, your Dapper wallet, and you have that. And then maybe they have some kind of photo setup as well, where you can print it out there and have a physical of it. But try to actually teach people what this means, and that you're owning an NFT of this photo.
Right.
I feel like there's more they could do with that.
Yeah, at the Fanatics party, there was you got to take 4 pictures, different poses, pick your favorite one, and then they cut it up into a physical sports card and numbered it. And they got business execs getting in line, fucking around. Us regulars would definitely, if we could get a free NFT of ourselves minted, would totally do something along those lines. Now it may be 10 times more complex, but I totally agree. I think opening packs with the players is super interesting. If they're storytelling around that, they're commenting on their teammates or other colleagues in the league. But I'm curious what the chat thinks. What do they think would cool? What would catch their eye? Where would they rather see time or money or energy be spent? What could they do at All-Star that would get people excited? Pack Drip fucking killed it. He invited a lot of influential figures in the game. And so now you could argue, if you're Dapper, well, we have those people. We don't necessarily need to activate around them a ton. We need to go acquire new users. So how do we get new users? And that's by being on the ground in our own space, right? So it's all just they're now they're essentially, I feel like, a Web 2 company right now, which is they just got to figure out marketing, hiring, all that good normal stuff just within the NFT space.
Yeah, I definitely, I don't know, maybe I'm not as plugged in, but it does seem like they're ramping up the pack drops, the communications, the amount of things they're doing with challenges. It feels like we used to go sometimes a week and a half or 2 weeks without a drop or something, and now it's just it seems like the cadence is every couple days there's something.
Non-stop. It is sick. The UFC stuff, right? When Logan Paul came out with the Charizard around his neck against Floyd, that went everywhere. Card collectors went crazy. The internet went crazy. And UFC gets freaking eyeballs. And they, these guys are coming out with moments playing from their chains, which is really cool. I don't think it's quite caught on as much, but they're doing shit. They're doing cool shit. I'm just curious, does it pay off? Is it a brand awareness thing? Could they have just bought a commercial with a QR code on it during Super Bowl, and all that spend could have been better utilized? with an NBA Top Shot commercial. I don't know.
Yeah.
I have 2 comments. One 38-minute drive from pinball convention to basketball Hall of Fame. My second comment that I failed to mention earlier, tragically, there was a wedgie in the All-Star game. There was
I
a
saw
wedgie.
that.
Yeah, which was unreal. That was a very exciting moment in the game.
Yeah. What were the other like, to kind of Jack's point, Mike, in having seen it firsthand, and again, we can continue to shout out Pack Drip because I have a little bit of knowledge on what it takes to plan like events like that, and at the scale and stuff he did it, and the amount of stuff he did for it, like that shit is not easy. Like, can you envision more events like that, whether, you know, local base for different communities or centered around big NBA events? Like, do you think that's something that the community would really be interested in?
I think so. I mean, there were a handful of people, probably, I don't know, 6 to 10 people in that range who were just Top Shot collectors who came to watch the game. And I think it could be kind of fun for people. I mean, obviously it's not going to be the highest quality basketball, but you just come, you meet other people from the community, and they do something like the proof of attendance protocol, or whatever, POAP thing for people who go to the game, something that commemorates that they were there. And I don't know, if you get if you go 3 years in a row, you get something of tangible value, something that Dapper incentivizes that sort of community. And it was genuinely a lot of fun to meet these people, similar to how it felt in Vegas, where it's like we've talked to these people, you know, for hours and hours and hours on end, and, you know, feel like we have a real connection, but then you meet them in person, and it's, you know, a very different experience and that much better. And so it felt very similar to that. And it was a lot of fun. So I do think there's a lot of opportunity to kind of build on the community aspect of that, and to, you know, encourage people to do more things like that, and maybe do regional things. That's the Northeast version once a year. Maybe do one down in, I don't know, Miami or Atlanta and that kind of area. Have a Chicago one, have an Austin one. Go to LA, go to Seattle, call it a day. Dot the US.
Yeah, I mean, oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, based off the networking run we did on Tuesday or whenever, like I could totally see a team set run. Like if they just put a little bit of structure around renting a court, right, for 2 hours on a Saturday every 3 months, like people would show up. Maybe they get a video. Like I think our total cost was like $2,500. Like that's not a lot to reward, you know, some major collectors and what may come out of it. And if people aren't going to play, maybe they rent out a bar for an hour. You know, a lot of people are going to say, well, we're international. Okay. So maybe they do something internationally as well. There's games internationally too from time to time. So there's a lot to be done. You know, that is, once again, a decision for them. Are they marketing to new users, or are the current users more valuable? How do they value them? What do they need? It'll be,
Yeah.
I mean, they're doing shit though. Can't complain about at least all day not doing shit. If Top Shot's in the dunk contest, they're doing shit. So I'm happy about that. But I still will not be happy until they're out of beta.
I think now just got the idea. Juice is flowing. How this would be a cool idea if they kind of stole from our buddies over at the Starters. Now No Dunks, where they did the lockout tour around the states. They did, you know, pop-up podcast shows in like 20 different cities. Like Top Shot could go on the road. They could partner, you know, with us and Team Hold and Own the Moment and throw, you know, podcast shows in these various cities, organize these little, whether it's a 3-point contest, maybe a player they can get in town to come by and play horse with people, shoot that. And then the ticket holders or set holders get tickets to go to a game that night, like stuff like that, where I look at it and I get FOMO. Like I got FOMO, like seeing your guys' all-star game on Saturday. Like I didn't, when Jack posted the photo of the all-day setup at the Pro, I didn't get FOMO about that. It did seem like, so I don't know. I think there is so much they can do right now. But it goes back to that conversation. Are they, you know, trying to bring in new eyeballs, or do they want to serve their diehard existing, you know, user base with events like that?
I mean, I could see something at, like, if they have this kind of pull and reach or budget, which I'm sure they do, have an MSG event where, I don't know, they say this group of people, whether it's collector score thing, team set based, like content creator based, Like you guys are playing a game, we'll have a 3-point competition, and we invite other people to show up, have a POAP, great, and then we'll pick 30 people out of the crowd to participate in a 3-point contest, to participate in a horse event, like what you're describing, but like a big event that it's fun to attend. It's a fun event. They give away packs. They invite people onto the court and do things like that. And make it so it's fun to watch also, to try and involve the international crowd. I think there's a lot of opportunity there. And it truly does kind of hit the community side of things. It's not just, what we need to feel is going on the community side of things. It actually does it.
Yeah.
One final thing I know, from the card collecting world is people like buying from each other. Like I think that, when what's his name came on and got the last mint, and like, there's a story that Mike will be the one to buy. I think that encourages like buying. And so getting these people in person actually interacting with each other also, I think, can carry a little bit of the market and just the I guess NFTs and the product as well, because knowing who these people are is super comforting. Seeing their username is cool. Putting a face and a personality to it is great as well. So, when I mature a little and don't have voice cracks, I hope to meet. Who's not getting it?
Greg saying that NBL is not getting the last mint he pulled on the show.
Yeah.
I bought the RJ Barrett last mint. I was happy with that.
There you go. Yeah, and I know Fenny's talking about here. I don't think we're.
What's that in regard to?
I'm not actually sure, but I was just gonna say us like spitballing like marketing ideas and things. It's literally just us because we enjoy the product and think it's fun and want to think about creative ways that it can go. I also know people who work for Dapper and who work for Top Shot. They check in on these shows. They watch these shows.
Yeah.
They want the ideas and they want the feedback. So I don't think we're being unnecessarily hard on Top Shot when we spitball marketing ideas for them.
We're doing their job for them.
In fact, they should probably pay us to come up with some of these ideas. All right. Yeah, we're gonna wrap this up tonight. Sorry to CC Kings that we could not open packs tonight on the stream. I know we are all busy. Jack needs to go finish setting up his apartment. Are you in your new apartment or old one right now?
Nah, I'm in the old one.
Okay.
The bed frame. They shipped us 2 headboards, not the headboard and the bed frame. So we're staying in the apartment for now. But yeah, new apartment. It's exciting. It'll be interesting to see the new setup, new backdrop. Now we'll have had 3 setups over the course of this show, which is exciting. Goes to show, thanks to the audience for some reason continuing to watch us all talk about JPEGs.
Yeah, no, we appreciate you guys. Mike and Andy, anything with Floaty Fractional? Any other plugs before we power this down here?
Nah, nothing too big for me. Just trucking along.
Yeah.
No ETH Denver, sadly.
We've been pushing out a couple features. I'm actually going on Lucky Trader for an AMA nice. Tomorrow with Lou Dog, club favorite Lou Dog, and I'm doing a Flowverse AMA tomorrow. So I don't know if you guys follow Flowverse, but they're basically a platform that kind of collects and disseminates all flow information on different platforms and tools and all that.
Can I buy a house with any of my moments yet, Mike?
Yeah.
All right.
You just got
I missed the episode where we talked Floaty, so I'm gonna have to check it out. And are you taking investors yet? Where I can stake soon.
Hashtag soon. Okay. Yes. We're hopefully wrapping up the VC side of the fundraising, and then we'll go out to angels, close family and friends.
That's disgusting. Please fundraise from the community, Mike.
We are fundraising from the community.
Mike, you need to hire Jack as an influencer and get Jack to change his pitch to his new dream is to get LeBron to rent his moment for a year for $1 billion. I mean, there you go. That's how you send this to the moon.
Jack said he was at Nights of Degen for 18 minutes. I don't know if he's the right influencer for us.
He made the rounds. He shook some hands.
I was equally at the Underdog house for 18 minutes as well.
Dude, okay, we need to talk about this real quick, and then it will end this. So there were me, Nick, and Jack, and there was the master bedroom upstairs, and Liz in a thread says, say a number 1, 2, 3, each of you for the master. Of course, Jack gets the master. He's barely there the entire time. I had to use his bathroom. So every day I'd walk from my room and trounce through. Jack's had a closet that was bigger than my room.
2 closets.
It was just, I mean,
it was insane. It was the greatest bedroom I think I've ever stayed in. I never, like, you can see the shit on my ground if I showed you. Like, I never unpack when I'm on the road. I had just been living out of a suitcase for 5 nights, sleeping on an air mattress, and like I walk in, I'm like, all right, I'm gonna take a shower. I unpacked, I hung shit up. I might have thrown stuff in the safe for no good reason. Like, I made it my home for a few nights. That room was crazy though.
Yeah. As usual, shout out to Underdog Fantasy. You guys can always head over there. They still got the pick'ems going for NBA, all kinds of other sports. We're drafting on Big Board, their first best ball contest of the year. More to come from them, I promise you. For Jack, for NBL, for Andy, I'm Pete, for Peter Jennings, who is hopefully, winning a basketball game with all of his new recruits. We will see you guys next Tuesday. Peace out.